please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Leave it there. Appreciate you joining us. Let me go back to Shriram Subramanian. I interrupted you before when you were speaking, Shriram. In light of all of the developments now, next steps that you would see that the board of Infosys needs to focus on.
No, I think definitely if you see right now, just now, a short while ago, the Infosys has put out a media release, press release, where again they have attacked Mr. Murthy. So I think this is just going to get intense. I mean, at the end of the day, it is sad that there is misalignment between the board and one of the founders. For the first time, probably Infosys is referring to Mr. Murthy and not the founders as a collective. And this is a very, it has become a very personal battle in that sense now, and which is sad and unfortunate. And I think in the coming days, you will see more board members of the board being refreshed. I think, because the shareholders, which is the founders and Mr. Murthy, will just up the ante now. So I don't think this Vishal stepping down is just the end of the story. Because as Mr. Senapati said, the issues still continue to linger. I mean, what happened exactly and why was Rajiv Bansal paid the compensation, the severance package, etc. is still not clear. And obviously one would like the founders and Mr. Murthy to be aligned with the board and with the managing director and work towards betterment and creation of shareholder wealth. But unfortunately, there has been misalignment in views. There has been misalignment in what they sought to achieve, and the founders are not just let go. And this perhaps yet in the next few days, I would say, a month.
Right, and the stock now down about 10%. So clearly, investors losing this morning. But let's go across to Jonathan Trezell of Ashburton, also joins us. Jonathan, appreciate you joining us here. Several developments today, and of course, the big headline: Vishal Sikka tendering in his resignation as CEO and managing director. Infosys now starts the search for a successor. But the unanswered questions of how the rift between the founders as well as the board, how do we bridge that? Whether there is going to be a reconfiguration of the Infosys board. Those questions remain unanswered. And of course, the big one, who is going to be next after Vishal Sikka, and how does the management get any air cover? How do you read the developments, Jonathan?
Thank you. Yeah, I think clearly it's very, very negative for investors, unfortunately for shareholders, what has been going on. And the reality is that the board and the company will find it extremely difficult, in my opinion, to get a decent candidate who will step up into the shoes of the CEO with the company at this current time, with, unfortunately the founders and the board obviously airing their dirty washing in public like this. Go ahead. We are internally, obviously having a debate internally over the next couple of days, so at the moment it's difficult. It's certainly no better than a hold in the very short term, but it's difficult to see that the stock will do anything other than tread water for the next number of months.
Well, tread water for the next couple of months. That's the outlook there for Ashburton on the Infosys stock. Jonathan, appreciate you joining us. Pramod, let me get final comments from you. You had a buy rating, but no longer. Given where we see things, and do you expect any complications at all on the buyback, Pramod?
I don't think there'll be. That'll be a bit too much in terms of retracting. But I guess there will be some interest there. There'll be take up on the buyback. But more importantly, our buy rating was based on what we thought was a very strong fundamental recovery, and we lifted that buy rating earlier this week, much before the events of this morning, primarily on the back of our lack of clarity on the governance front, on the disclosure front, and that is what we believe will continue to weigh on the stock and beyond this.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've lost that line with Pramod. But Pramod, appreciate you joining us. That's Infosys, clearly the stock of the morning, slipping as we speak, now down about 10.5%. In fact, another stock to watch out for is Indigo. Pratt & Whitney engine issues have forced Indigo to cancel 84 flights. This has been an issue in the past, so we need to get more clarity on that. That is, of course, news agency PTI that's reporting on that, because the A320 was facing issues. So we'll have to check on what period that this grounding has been that the PTI is alluding to. That and more when we return. But don't go anywhere. There's a lot more, so stay right there. You're watching CNBC TV 18.